This is My Ruby Weekend by Adelaide Carew. I walk the busy streets in my heels as my thick brown curls bounce. The Uber driver said I would only have to walk 1 block to get there. "Excuse me," I say with manners as a woman walking in far more comfortable sneakers, or should I say trainers, brushes past me. And there it was, the tallest building I'd ever seen, Gemsey. "You're a long way from home, Katrina Smith," I say to myself as I walk past the double doors. And where was home exactly? Jacksonville, Florida. I had never been out of America, let alone the state before. At 22 years old, my whole focus had been about saving up to move into my brand new apartment and maybe taking some art classes. I've always dabbled in it. I wanted to take classes to hone my skills. But before I can get back to any of that, I have to get through this trip. I walk through the wide white hall to reach the receptionist before asking, "Hi, I'm Katrina Smith, the Florida General Manager for Gemsey Jewelry. I'm here for the 12 o'clock Braxton Mills meeting."
Yes, it's room 125. Take the elevator to floor 12 and the room will be on the right.
I stand dumbfounded. I mean, as general manager, the headquarters for Gemsey in Florida was only 6 floors, which, with the English accent, never ceases to charm me.
Miss Smith, the elevator is right behind you.
"Oh, of course," I giggled a bit nervously. I reach the door for the meeting just as the clock strikes 12. When I enter, I see 2 men. Both are dressed in black suits that match mine. White shirt, black jacket, and pants, except I'm in a black pencil skirt. The man sitting down looks a few years younger than me, and the one standing up currently looks to be about 20 years older than me. Immediately, I gravitate to the one standing and put out my hand. "Hello, Mr. Mills." He looks at me warily. "Okay, everyone, sorry for being a couple of minutes late. My call just ran longer than expected." A man who looks to be my age in a white blazer jacket says. I stare again, dumbfounded. How can someone my age be the new co-owner of Gemsey Jewelry? I take a seat as he moves to the front of the room. "As you see, the general managers of Florida, London, and NYC have been invited to our second headquarters to pick jewelry for next year's collection. For the 3 stores you manage in your respective areas. The jewelry designers will be available all throughout the month to showcase their work, so don't hold back. We have millions of dollars to spend." That made sense. After all, this was a billion-dollar company. "Once each of you has finished picking out your pieces, I will wire the funds to them. Any questions?" He eyes all 3 of us. Each general manager looks at one another in complete understanding. In the couple of months since I was named the new general manager, I had never met the owner or participated in anything like this before. But I'm sure this was nothing I couldn't handle. The other 2 managers are the first to stand and shake Mr. Mills' hand on the way out. As I shake his hand, he holds it for a little longer. He looks straight in my eyes and says, "You can call me Braxton." His eyes were soft, and so was his tone, not quite as commanding as it was just a moment ago. "Okay." Not knowing where to take this, I ask, "Are you American?" "Yes." He smiles. "I'm originally from New York. That's where my dad first started Gemsey. If you want to, I could take you to dinner and explain all about how the company started." My eyes widen in disbelief. Yeah, I'll see you then. "Oh, and my name is Katrina Smith, by the way." I figured. The name gave away that you would be the only woman in the meeting. He winked, charming, but still humble. Later that evening, I meet up with him at the restaurant. He's already at the table, dressed in a gray suit. My blue sundress from back home blends into the calm and elegant atmosphere. "So, Are you sure you want to be having dinner with your employee? I say after sitting down. Look, I only started running my father's company a couple months ago. I'm still getting things straight. I'm bound to make a few mistakes first. The waiter pours both him and I a glass. The light is dim and people are scarce. Soft music plays in the background. This is posh, real posh, I think as I look around. So, have you been rich your whole life? I ask, no fear, just calm. I mean, what would the odds be to end up with my boss? Not really. Gemsy didn't really take off until I was in high school. I was living with my mother then. My parents had divorced a few years earlier. Soon after, the store started raking in its fortune. My dad met and married his second wife. I met my stepbrother then, too. We co-own the company now. He graduated NYU with me in the past June. I think that's the best part about working for Gemsy, is running it with him. Sounds like you're really close with your family. I am too. I actually still live with my family. I'm in the process of moving out for the first time, but I'm totally gonna miss hanging out with my little sister most nights. How old is she? He asks with enthusiasm. Her name is Myra. She's 18. She'll be moving out for college soon. Regardless of what school she goes to, she's going to have a great time. Me and my brother was on the soccer team for 4 years and found a great family. So I take it you didn't go to college? I stare at him for a second. Soccer? That sounded familiar. More than familiar. It was someone I once knew. I quickly come out of that thought and answer his question. No, actually I didn't. Things have been kind of hard for my parents for some years now. As soon as I graduated, I wanted to get a job to help out. I look at him with a smile. Please don't feel sorry for me. There was never a specific subject I was really interested in. So I saw it as a chance to try different things. And turns out I was great at sales. Oh, I know. I've read your numbers. You're very impressive, Katrina. We stare into each other's eyes as we would in the movies. I reach over to hold his hand across the table, and the same spark from earlier radiates on my skin as he kisses it. Judging from his stare, I could assume he felt the same as well. The days following that night all run the same. This jewel could be broken down into separate pieces if you want, one of the jewelers would say. I'll take it, and let me see what else you've got. Saying no to the pieces has become way too difficult. The selections for Gemsy were bright and colorful. Just about every jewel would fit the Gemsy brand. But by the end of the 30 days, I could make a final choice. At the end of the workday, Braxton would be waiting for me with open arms, waiting to whisk me away for a luxurious activity in a sports car. One evening, he participated in a private car race. The next night, it's partying at the city's most exclusive nightclub. Every night was a brief shopping trip to get me ready. Chanel, Dior, Prada, you name it, all was immediately at my disposal. But every night had to end early because I always had work first thing in the morning. It was best not to get too carried away together. I can't wait to see you again, he said. I know, we'll see each other soon. I linked my fingers through his, and his driver put my bags in the trunk. Time stands still as we kiss. Braxton had invited me to his parents' vow renewal this upcoming weekend. He wanted me to fly straight there in his private jet, but I certainly needed a break. This had truly been a whirlwind, so much so my head needed clarity. My parents would be leaving for their cruise, and I wanted to touch base with home for a couple of days before they left. Plus, I wanted to put my return ticket to good use. Now I come off the plane again, and this time it is in New York. My phone rings, and with no doubt I know exactly who it is. Hey Myra, feeling lonely your first time by yourself? I'm 18, and I'm going to be going away to college soon. I can spend a few weeks at home by myself, she says, a bit annoyed. She's the baby of the family, but even I have to start letting go. It's time I start doing my own thing and not just worry about the family too. I know. I guess I'm just really happy we all got to be together as a family again before we all have to start doing our own thing. I say as I grab my suitcase and begin to look for the exit. You sound like we'll never see each other again. Your new apartment is still going to be in town, and Mom and Dad aren't always going to be taking trips, and you know I'll be coming home often enough. You don't have to sacrifice any more for us, Kat. You can finally start doing your own thing now. Maya was right. All through high school, I had always worked as a team with my family. Even though they don't need me anymore, I just feel guilty about it. I love you, Myra. My car is here. The driver in the private black car waves at me as they park. I love you too. I can't wait to meet your billionaire boyfriend soon. I put my phone away as the driver takes my bag and put them in the back seat. As soon as I enter the back seat, I notice the temperature is at the exact level I prefer. There are Lay's chips and iced tea. Braxton's driver already had my favorites ready. Traffic is heavy this afternoon, Miss Smith. It's going to be a long ride. Please make yourself comfortable, the driver says and begins to drive. With that reassurance, I lay my head toward the window and the daydream takes over. The thought that came to mind was of my family when I was in high school. My parents and little sister were at my grandmother's house. We were helping to clear out items from her home that were no longer needed. Grandma had certainly reached an age where she needed help with most things. Most of the things my parents wanted to stay on top of was taking care of my grandmother's bills and letters. My mother brought my old pink lunchbox to my grandmother's house and made sure my grandmother put in any important notices and bills in it, so they remembered to check it every time they came over. Our bills and our bills were already racking up enough. We were all in the basement that hot Florida day when we heard a ton of barking from our dog Ruby. Mom had bought Ruby for Grandma a few years earlier when Grandpa died to keep her company. At first, everyone ignored it, but after a while, the noise stopped. We ignored that as well. When we finally came up, we saw what had happened. Ruby had finally gone into labor. We thought she had more time, but I guess the puppies came earlier than expected. Myra was quick to rush to hold the new puppies. There were 4 of them. Mom and Dad gave each other a quick look. I hadn't finished high school yet, but I knew what that look meant. Expenses, stress. Of course, they loved the sight as much as I did, but it has been a rough several years with their finances at home combined with my grandma's. All right, everyone, how about we eat some banana bread? We can talk about what we are going to do about the puppies later, Grandma said. I remember we spent a few days at Grandma's house playing with Ruby and the 4 pups. No one brought up any of the expected issues. It was just love and the freshly baked banana bread aroma throughout the house. It was the last time I remember being with my family, and everything felt just right. Everything felt just right again in the few days I just spent with them. No worries. We arrive in Manhattan and park right in front of the high-rise apartment. There's no need to guess. I know the top is where I'll be staying. Thanks, I'll take it from here, I say as I take my one bag from him. No, that's all right, Miss Smith. It will be my pleasure to see you up, he says with a bright smile. 1 month of being waited on while on Braxton's arm has not gotten me used to it yet. No, it's fine, I've got this. And then I head on in. Before I can ring the doorbell, the door opens to a man dressed in a black suit for a butler. "Hello, Miss Smith. I'm Klein, and I will be your butler during your stay," he says, and then takes my bag. I'm surprised he did not have an English accent. Before I can get in a handshake, he steps in front of me and begins to walk. The space is spacious and decorated in muted colors. "Your bedroom will be here." He puts my bag down. I stare at my perfectly pink and white room, just as I mentioned were my favorite colors. I can't believe he remembered. Mr. Mills left his black card on the table with a note in case you may need to purchase something during your weekend here. He will be picking you up this evening for the family dinner. The closet is already filled with things you could wear tonight. As soon as Klein shuts the door behind me, I head to the table to see the note under the black card with a bracelet next to it. The note reads, "The peridot gem bracelet is for the month we spent together. We'll see you soon." Nothing but smiles comes to me. I can't wait to see him tonight. I think as I rush to the bathroom. "Miss Mills, Mr. Mills will be up shortly to see you," Klein shouts. "Okay, I'll be out soon," I shout from the bedroom. With one more look in the mirror, I take a breath in satisfaction with my appearance. Having my hair in a bun was the safest style to have, no strand out of place. My red dress flowed right above my knees. The peridot bracelet may not match as well, but it would be very meaningful to wear it tonight. Now I hear recognizable footsteps coming to the door. "Katrina!" Braxton shouts as I open the door. He spins me round. "You look absolutely beautiful," he says with extreme excitement and smacks a kiss on me. "Thanks. Great to see you too, handsome." I giggle. Excitement continues to beam in his eyes as he asks, "So, have you thought about coming with me for the cruise? I need to start making plans pretty soon." "Yes, I have, but I kind of need a little more time. You know I'm in the process of moving out." I try to read his face. No judgment is there. "You said you wanted to touch base with your family. Well, you already did that. So what's the holdup? You don't think you have feelings for me?" His voice is low, eagerly searching for a response. "Braxton, honestly, it has nothing to do with you. For so long, I've been hoping for a break to work on myself. You just came along and spun my world around. I just want to make sure I'm able to think with a firm ground, you know? The idea of spending a whole year cruising the world on his yacht, but I don't know if I want to jump into a new adventure with someone else instead of finally being all about myself for once. Discovering a new path. Going away with him right now would feel like his journey, not mine." "I want to get what you mean. Just let me know after the wedding." He kissed my forehead. "Come on, the others flew in and are meeting us there." "Oh, they all flew in together?" I look at him earnestly. "Of course not. Parents came in one jet, my brother came in his own." Hurriedly grabbing my arm. It's just a stroke of 7 p.m. when we arrive at the restaurant. The restaurant is packed and loud as the host takes us to our reservations. We see Braxton's parents first, and they smile as we make our way over. As soon as Braxton and I are about to take our seats, his brother is hastily reaching the table on the opposite end. I stand still before making any more movements.
"Thought I'd be running late."
Braxton's brother says, looking at his parents on his side of the table. He then stops and stands straight when he sees me and Braxton still standing. "Katrina, meet my brother, Alexander. Everyone, this is my girlfriend, Katrina," Braxton says as he questionably stares at me and his brother. Their parents stare at us too, the two silent parties. Alexander speaks.
We've already met. We met senior year in high school and hung out for a bit.
He says in his still strong English accent. Braxton, Alexander, and I finally sit. He lived a few blocks away from my grandmother, so I saw him around until he moved. I looked to check Braxton's face after speaking. He had a strange smile. I pat my hand on his lap for reassurance. The vow renewal will be held on the same day of our anniversary, Braxton's mom says almost nervously as an attempt to change the conversation. We were headed for divorce a couple of years ago, but when John had his heart attack, it made us realize that we had been given a second chance to work on our marriage. She puts her hand in his and stare at each other. Carol and I fell in love again. Now that I'm retired, I will have more time to take care of my health and spend time as a family. We figured, why not celebrate our reunion? Braxton Dad says, as he takes her hand and stares back into his wife's eyes. Can I take your order? A waiter says to us. My eyes quickly catches Braxton's brother's very intense eyes, and then I look back down at my menu. I hear him fake cough as well. This is going to be a long night. To focus on my food and keep my eyes down, I focus on a memory that comes to mind. After those few days at Grandma's house, my parents decided to take Ruby to the veterinarian to be checked out. Ruby was diagnosed with lymphoma. She did not have long, a few months at best. It was the beginning of my senior year in high school, and now there was nothing I could look forward to for this year. To make matters worse, my parents did not have extra expenses to spare for her treatment. So they were left with two choices, either to put her down or take her to the pound and allow the workers to give her the medication she needs until she dies. Of course, we chose the latter. Everyone, including my grandma, went to the pound to drop off the 4 puppies and Ruby. Everyone said their goodbyes and cried, except for me. I gave each of the dogs one kiss and whispered in Ruby's ear, I'll be back. I certainly kept my promise. You see, my parents worked out that they would go over my grandma's house during the week for a couple of hours. My parents needed to do something for my little sister or work an extra shift, so I would spend my weekends at Grandma's to help around the house. The very first weekend for me to start this arrangement, I decided to stop at the pound that was close to my grandma's house. I would come here to spend a couple of hours with Ruby every weekend until she passed. The other puppies had already found a home within the first couple of days of being there. Of course, these were fresh newborns, but Ruby still needed me. I entered the pound that Saturday afternoon, expecting it to be easy, but nothing had been easy in my life, my whole high school career, so why would it start now? I'm sorry, the worker says at the front desk. You can't volunteer here unless you have a signed permission from your parents since you're underage. Please? You were here when I dropped off Ruby. I hear the bell ring as another customer comes into the store. They must now be behind me in line. Ruby doesn't have long to live, but it doesn't mean she isn't loved. I don't need to be recorded as a volunteer or a worker. I just want to pet her and give her her medication. It won't be for long. Can't you let me do that for her? My voice shakes, and I know I'm about to cry, but I couldn't hold my tears back. I just couldn't.
Maybe I could help.
I turned to see a boy who seemed to be my age in a prep school uniform.
I was supposed to pick out a new dog for Anne. Early high school graduation present from my dad. Perhaps I could adopt Ruby instead.
I stopped to cry and look at him in shock as I ask, why would you want to adopt Ruby if you heard she'll be dead soon?
All I wanted when my first dog Leah died was to be with her one more day. She died when I was 10, and I wasn't that good at taking care of her. She was already my parents' dog when I was born, so I guess I thought she would always be around. I just wondered if she knew I loved her. Ruby seems greatly loved, and she needs to know that until she dies. I'm not sure if I'll really have the time to take care of a new dog next year, but I know I have time now. How about get my parents to finish the adoption process, and you can come over my place to spend time with her?
Oh, wow. That sounds absolutely amazing, I say, staring at his smile. My name is Katrina Smith, and hold out my hand.
My name is Alexandra Ross, but call me Ross. Alexander sounds too pretentious.
From then on, weekends became my favorite time of the week. The memory ends, and dinner finally comes to an end. The good part is that the moment feels a little less awkward now. Who am I kidding? This is going to be a long evening. Ross and I briefly look at each other and quickly look away. I haven't seen or heard from him in years. There's just so much I would want to say. My heart beats like it hadn't in years, but this time it's just because of the situation being awkward, nothing else. Once we all come outside of the restaurant, I link my arm with Braxton. Do you guys want to go for a walk for a bit? The scenery is really great, Braxton's dad says.
Sure, John, that sounds like fun. It won't be long before it starts to get cold. Why not enjoy it now?
Ross says, and looks at me and Braxton. I'm really tired. It's been a long day for me, and I really just want to get to bed, I say, and look over to Braxton. Yeah, I think I'll see you guys tomorrow, Braxton adds while briefly glancing at me. Ross is about to turn to walk, but looks at me, and I look at him before turning as well. Is it me, or is the air really heavy tonight? The next morning, I wake up in my room alone. Understandably, I never had the time to share the same bed with Braxton in London, and now in his parents' home would be inappropriate. I hear ruffles behind my door. Hopefully, it's not just the help that is up. Once dressed, I make it to the kitchen to see the maid taking a tray of breakfast foods to the table. Hi, I try to say, but she's quick to smile and hurry back to the kitchen. It's so weird having people be careful with speech around me. As I take my seat at the table, Ross comes to the table as well and takes a seat right beside me.
So how have
you been? We both say. Chuckles break the ice. He picks up a glass of juice to drink. So when your mom got married, this is where you guys moved to, huh? I say.
Yeah.
He looks at me confused.
But didn't you know that already?
No. I blocked you in all of my socials, remember? Then taking a sip of my orange juice.
Right.
He still looks confused, but I can tell he's gonna try to let it go.
So how about we let everyone know we were ever just friends? In case anyone asks, nothing ever happened between us. Okay?
He asks with a nod. Sure, we were only ever just friends, I say with a pit in my stomach. It's the same pit he made me feel once during a Ruby weekend. I'm starving, John shouts as he enters with Carol. I look at him to distract myself from looking at Ross. Carol comes over to kiss Ross on the cheek and then kisses me on the cheek as well. Katrina, you have got to come out with me on my errands today after breakfast, she says as she sits. Braxton comes from the direction of his room, looking cheerful, and sits. It's as if the night before had not taken place. The air was definitely lighter. Breakfast was finished, and as Carol had wished, we were now getting in her car and heading to a food tasting for the wedding. The boys would be heading for a fitting and then lunch. It is not long before we reach the destination and exit the vehicle. Have you been to the New York Gemsey location before? Carol asks as we step onto the sidewalk. No, I haven't, I say looking at her. Here it is. It's the largest of the 3 locations. The very first location, she says, as we stand in front of it. Indeed, it is. It was twice the height of the Gemsey location in London. Perhaps I'll go in before the end of the weekend. She grabs my hand and we move towards the restaurant close by. As we enter, the host immediately comes up to us with a big smile. Miss Mills, your vanilla cake is ready for your tasting. The restaurant is entirely vacant. It is clear that the space is reserved solely for the food tasting. We sit down and took a bite out of the first piece. The cake tastes heavenly. This has got to be my favorite piece, I say while sticking my fork back in. Someone sure got a sweet tooth, huh? Just like my son's. She says that, and I look up.
Ross's view. I take a seat after having changed back into my clothes. Braxton sits next to me as he pours more champagne.
So tell me what you think, kids.
Dad says as he comes out in another suit. I honestly think it looks just as good as the last one, Dad. I say, trying to force a smile.
Same as Alex, to be honest.
Braxton says after taking a sip.
Fine. I guess I'll have to try out a third.
My smile strains even more. Dad goes back into the changing room.
So Katrina and Mom will probably be getting home before we do.
Braxton says. There is no glass in his hand. He's suddenly facing me in his chair. I guess, I say nonchalantly. There is only one direction he would want to go. With this. He seems a little nervous to continue speaking.
Do you have her number? You could always call to let them know to take their time.
He's scared. No. Jealous. If it's the same it was from high school, I guess. I haven't called her since, so I don't. I swallow as discreetly as I can after saying that. Of course I lied. I called her for months after high school before I stopped trying. I try to ignore the guilt as well as I ignore the small warmth I felt seeing her again.
You were in a funk when we first met. You never said what it was, but a common assumption will usually be a girl. I mean, I didn't see you start dating again until after a while later.
We were just friends. That's all. Fighting over a girl was not something I pictured ever happening with my stepbrother. Ever since our parents married and our home became whole, I never figured anything could tear us apart.
But you liked her, and maybe she liked you.
His voice softens and his eyes glisten. What? I stutter, trying to get the rest out. What are you talking about?
I really like her. She'll probably be my first serious relationship.
Braxton's tone was serious again. He grabs his glass and finishes the champagne and turns back in his seat, just as Dad comes back out. Braxton was right. He never really did girlfriends, perhaps. Only girls that hung around him for a while, and then he'd move on to another one. I didn't want to break his heart. Instead, I just have to break mine. I think as another memory comes to mind, Kat met up with me at the park on the Saturday afternoon after meeting at the Pound. Ruby and I ran up to her as she came to the park to meet us. Hey, I said, catching my breath. My teammates were just finishing practice. You can take Ruby for a walk if you want. She was quick to bend down and pet Ruby. She later looks up at me and says,
Thanks. You don't know how much this means to me. My parents definitely would not want me here if they knew I was seeing Ruby behind their backs.
The first few weekends, Kat would always meet me in the park after I finished my soccer practice to take Ruby for a walk and feed her treats. Eventually, I started going on walks with them. Sometimes Kat would come with me to give Ruby a bath at my house on days. My mom would be out late. Most times we talked during our walks and talked even more after the walks. Back at the park, sitting on the bleachers. It was so easy talking to her. I had been in America for 2 years, but it was hard making close friends. It was even harder keeping up with my old friends in England. I had kept her promise to not tell anyone about our arrangement since she feared her parents ever hearing about it. Over time, she had become my best friend. The colder it got outside, the more time we started to spend inside watching TV on my couch. On one of the nights my mother would be out late, Kat Kat and I were watching TV on the couch when we dozed off. When I looked up, I saw she had just woken. We unknowingly had snuggled up together and now staring at each other. I knew what I was thinking, and I hoped I knew what she was thinking. I kissed her and she kissed me back. Turns out I got what she was thinking right. Ruby jumped up from our lap and broke us up. I soon noticed the time and knew my mom would be back soon. Oh shoot, Mom should be here in 5 minutes. I guess you would want to head out right now, right? I said in a hurry. I mean, if my mom catches us, that would lead to the truth about Ruby. And then that could lead to a call to her parents. I guess all the secrecy would have been all for nothing.
You're right. I'm expected back pretty soon, too,
she said in a hurry, gathering her bag. Once she reached the door, I tell her, don't tell anyone about the kiss, all right? She simply nods with no emotion, opens the door and leaves. I don't know if I'd done the right thing, but she didn't seem to care either way about that secret. I guess it was because it was my secret. My mom originally grew up in Florida. She only stayed in London after going there for a study abroad and eventually meeting my dad. So it was only fitting that she moved back to her hometown once they divorced. One of her old friend's daughters was set up with me on a play date, I should say, a little while ago. I guess they think we would be good together. I thought about it, but then I met Kat just a few days later. I definitely want to clear the air with Morgan about only wanting to stay friends before any news about me and Kat makes it to her. I'm sure that drama would make Mom's social group awfully smaller.
Katrina's view. We make it back home, but on the rooftop as the sun sets. The staff will be spending the entire night decorating the penthouse for the ceremony tomorrow morning. This evening, we are going to spend it having a campfire cookout until we go to bed. Of course, the firewood was already transported there by the time Carol and I arrived, with the staff getting the fire going. Klein, still in his butler suit, stood at the grill making a plentiful of burgers and hot dogs. Yeah, this was definitely how the rich did cookouts. I sit in one of the folding chairs by the newly lit fire and stretched to pick up the stick and s'mores on the table a couple of meters away. Carol comes to sit next to me. Wait, there's going to be a chill, she says, jumping back up. A maid quickly comes over to her with a blanket. No, not this one. There's a right one that keeps me warm with this type of chill. She hands me the blanket. I'll go look for it, she says, and quickly makes it back inside. I turn back around and I hear noise from the door Carol left through, thinking she had come back. I see Ross coming through that door. Stuck for a moment, I rummage through my brain to come up with something to say.
Braxton and Dad stopped at a store to buy some cigars. They'll be here pretty soon.
His finger hooks my peridot bracelet.
It makes sense. Everywhere I went for a while, all I saw was Ruby. I guess you did too. That's what drew you to my stepdad's store at Gemsey.
He says in deep thought, staring at my bracelet. I nod without blinking. I saw this bright ruby bracelet that I wanted to buy in Gemsey's store window. But once I finally saved up for it, I realized I needed the money for something else. But then I figured, why not just work there? So you're not a high school soccer coach? You never made it sound like a solid plan, I finally add.
All I had in my head back then was soccer. And when I was all soccered out, I thought, why not just join the family business since I got the degree in business?
He grabs a stick and puts a marshmallow on it. So how does it feel to finally have that full family you wanted to be a part of one day? I make sure my voice is low when I ask. I know how sensitive he was when he confided that in me. His parents' divorce hit him hard.
It feels great. Just not as great as it felt when I was with you.
What he said shocked me, but didn't. I felt calm and protected, like how I felt when Ruby died. I was sad, but he kept my heart warm. I further tugged the blanket I had tightly around me as I remembered that weekend. It was a winter break when Ruby finally succumbed to her illness. Ross and I laid her to rest in the woods next to the park we spent so many weekends together. Ross and I did not bring up the kiss from the last time we were together. He wrapped a blanket around me and held me close as we stood in silence. I come to while sitting at the campfire staring at him as he stares at me. Did time just stand still? Hey, I finally found my blanket, Carol says, coming back. I look to see her, and it is the same blanket from that night. Behind her was Braxton and John. Braxton runs up and gives me a big bear hug, then pulls up a chair next to me. He begins to smoke his cigar, but I stare ahead at the fire, too afraid to stare at either side of me. The next morning moves in an absolute rush. The help has taken care of everything, and now it was showtime. The handful of guests begin to come for the ceremony about to take place. I make my way to the living room with my wild curly hair out but pushed back, beige dress and peridot bracelet. As we all begin to take our seats, I see one girl come strolling in. My eyes stay pierced on her as I take my seat. She seems to know just about everyone at the party. I'm certain she doesn't know me though. I hear someone call her Morgan. That seemed like a fitting name for her. Morgan takes her seat, and we all await the bride. As the bride comes in from the entrance, my mind dozes back into the past memory of a Ruby weekend. It was a weekend after Ross and I had buried Ruby. He had texted me to tell me his mom was getting married, and he will be moving soon. He asked me to come over to tell me the details. I also hoped we would finally discuss the kiss. Not that I was sure how that would go. He did say to not tell anyone. I came to his door in my winter jacket, eager to get out of the cold. I rushed to get his attention at the living room window, as I have done many weekends before. I see a girl through the window in the same prep school jacket as Ross. Her hair was long, straight, and sleek. Even as a high school student, she seemed sophisticated, definitely from his background. Morgan leans into Ross's face and bends to kiss him. I don't stay to see anymore. I finally get it. I was just his friend, and he really didn't want anyone knowing about me. So I guess I would just disappear. My immediate action after getting home was to block him on all of my socials and his number. I was going to block him from my mind every time a thought of him came up. Of course, I didn't always succeed from keeping him out of my mind, but I did stay away from knowing anything more about him. My memory ends as everyone gets up after the ceremony and moves towards the light refreshments. With all my might of trying not to, I spot Ross giving Morgan a hug and a quick kiss on the cheek. She turns over to me and smiles. I'm really not sure of what to make of that. The best I can do is turn to walk fast to another room. Braxton is already in the living room eating a piece of cake. He's cheerful when he first sees me, but changes his reaction when he sees my face. I have to tell him, there's no point in waiting any longer. I decided that I was going to finally settle in and focus on my life, starting with my apartment. He puts the plate down and grabs my hand as I reach him. The past month has been amazing. I start by giving him my bracelet. He cuts me off. But you aren't coming with me on the trip. I put my head down, thinking of something else to say. Was it because Alexander and you had a thing back then? I look confused. He said you guys were just friends, but when I met him, his heart was broken. He wouldn't give me a name, but now I know it was you.
Yes, it was her.
Ross had followed us.
We only kissed once back then, but other than that, nothing happened.
Something did happen. You guys lied to me. I fell in love with you, Katrina. Braxton's voice cracks. So quick it made my head spin, and now you want to stay stuck in the past with him? The both of you, don't bother talking to me after this wedding. Tears well up, and he runs off.
Was he right? I never let go of those weekends. Did you?
Ross adds, our time then was magical and safe at the same time. What does any of that mean now? We're different people now. I finish, taking a big breath. It's like the wind has been knocked out of me.
I don't know, but before I go talk to my brother, I need to know why. Why did you shut me out like that? Even when I left my new address with your grandmother the day after we were supposed to meet up, you never contacted. She said she would put the letter in her important box and give it to you.
I swallow before speaking. Grandma died a few days after I last went to your place. I guess she didn't give it to me in time.
I'm going to make a promise to my brother. I need to know which to make.
He says, and inches closer to me. What do you mean? I saw you with Morgan, the same girl I saw you kiss the last night I was supposed to see you. His eyes light up.
Yes, she kissed me. She wanted to know why I'd been blowing her off for those couple of months. I told her about you. She was the only one who knew about you and Ruby. After you shut me out, there was no reason to tell anyone else. But now I need to know, am I going to see you again, or are you going to run away again, and I can promise him that I'll never see you again?
His eyes glisten. I want to see you again, I do. But I can't do this to you and your family. The thing you always said you wanted so badly. You know we can't do this, right? I'm sorry, but the smartest thing would be for me to be single right now. Think about it. If you still feel the same in a while, then we'll know it's right.
Ross's view, watching her walk away, reminded me of the night I went to drop off the letter at her grandmother's house. It was cold and heavily snowing. I knocked on the door, and the sweet, grey-haired lady answered. Hello, my name is Alexander. I am Kat's friend. I'm moving away soon, and I haven't been able to contact her. I was hoping you could give her this letter for me. She took the letter quickly from my hand.
That's all right, son. I'll put it in my important box and give it to her the next time she comes over. Now you best be getting home before you freeze in the snow.
She said with a sweet smile on her face. Little did I know she would die days later.
Kat's view. 2 weeks had passed since my weekend fiasco at the Mills wedding, and I was back in Florida. And all I wanted to do was just distract myself, to keep busy. And that's what I was doing by finalizing my move to my first apartment. Myra has been helping me decorate and moving things into my one-bedroom space. I had been through nearly everything in the boxes I packed, and I still hadn't seen the one thing I had been looking for. But I knew it was going to be in this box because it would be the very last I had to unpack. As soon as I open it, there it is, Grandma's important box. I opened the small pink lunchbox that had taken up my thoughts these past 2 weeks, and the only thing still there was the letter Ross had told me about. My parents had already gone through the box the weekend before she died. This was the very last thing to go in the box, and needless to say, we were not looking to check up on any unpaid bills. The letter said the exact New York address I had spent the weekend in a couple of weeks ago. The letter signed, I will miss you most of all, Ross. There, that pang is in my stomach. I need to go back to distracting myself. Myra, you've been distracted by texting all day, I say as I spot her sitting on the kitchen counter. Aren't you supposed to be helping me out with the curtains? You know what? You're right, she says quickly, hopping off of the counter. I actually have something in your car that I need your help getting. Sure, I guess. She is out of the front door before I finish answering. Although I thought we already brought everything up, I say coming down the stairs. She is already out of sight. When I finally make it outside, I spot Myra further in the parking lot, leaning next to my car. A dog comes running up to me with the red ruby necklace.
This time, I made sure you got my message.
Ross says as he appears right behind the dog. That explains who Myra was texting all day.
It took me 2 minutes to realize if I still feel the way I felt 4 years ago, I don't need any more time to figure it out. So I guess it must be right. What do you say?
He takes the necklace from the dog's mouth and wears it around my neck.
I went back to the pound where we first met. I wanted to know about Ruby's puppies, and it turns out one of them was returned the year after they were adopted. I just picked her up a couple hours ago and she's all ours. I was thinking we could name her Gem, maybe.
He comes back around to face me. Why? I ask, unable to catch my breath. I'm barely ready to run off on a yacht, let alone commit to anything right now.
My brother and I discussed it. He's all right with us. If you commit, all you have to say is yes. And baby, I'm a billionaire. We can go on that world trip whenever you're ready.
Yes. Finally letting my heart feel. Yes, Ross. I'm ready to fall with you right here. We kiss, and it feels just as dreamy as it did the last time we did. This has been an Indie Hood production of My Ruby Weekends by Adelaide Carew. For more, please send an email to indiehood@gmail.com to receive a PDF version of the story, plus an extended ending.